The Transport Minister, Norman Baker, was in Ipswich today to announce formally the go-ahead for a £25 million sustainable transport scheme.
It was developed for the town by Suffolk County Council and includes rebuilding bus stations and a computerised traffic management and information system. Laura Burns reports.
The old cattle market bus station is in need of a revamp, and now it's going to get one. Buses are a key part of a major transport scheme for Ipswich, which got government funding in the House of Commons yesterday. Today, a relieved Norman Baker was in town to hear local qualms and explain why this scheme was seen as a priority.
The government recognises money spent on transport will help the economy, help grow jobs, and in this particular case, very usefully help cut our carbon emissions. So it ticks all the boxes. We're very happy to go ahead with this particular scheme.
The large-scale initiative includes rebuilding both bus stations, synchronising traffic lights and new pavements and cycle routes.
Ipswich has not had much investment in it now for decades, and it's really good that the new government's doing it. I've fought incredibly hard to get this here, and of the very few schemes that got through, I'm thrilled that this is one of them, and we should be really happy about it.
Now, the transport budget got off relatively lightly in the cuts, enabling schemes like this to go ahead. But while many here have welcomed the cuts, others say £25 million is an awful lot of money, and that it could have been better spent elsewhere.
Well, I do think that's a lot of money. I think perhaps they could be spent in other areas as well, perhaps sort of divided up a bit.
No, I think any process which enables you to get improved transport arrangements has got to be, for the long term, much better anyway.
It's OK as it is. They've got the shuttle bus, and that's quite handy.
Do you think that £25 million is justified in a town which, you know, has a lot of work to do in a lot of areas?
Well, I certainly think it's justified in this particular scheme, and the evidence is from the analysis. It's got a very good payback, as a matter of fact, investment in cycling and walking schemes, which don't perhaps come top of people's lists, show a very, very good payback in terms of the economic return.
The work is due to start next year, and officials are confident of the scheme's wide benefits, although their means of leaving the town wasn't quite so sustainable. Laura Burns, Anglia News, Ipswich.
2 women and 2 children have been rescued after an arson attack on an Ipswich flat. Emergency services were called in the early hours of this morning to the flat at Whitland Close. Police say it appeared that flammable liquid was poured through the letterbox and then set alight. The property is being cordoned off while investigations are carried out.
Scientists investigating a mysterious spate of corkscrew injuries to seals off the Norfolk coast believe boat propellers are to blame. More than 30 seals have been found dead. Yesterday, 4 seals rehabilitated at the Wildlife Centre in Ipswich were released back into the wash.
Now, the Suffolk coastline gets its share of admirers, but there's a patch just north of Southwold that is known not just for its beauty, but for the way the sea is steadily encroaching towards the cliff-top houses there.
Yes, with the winter storms coming, Sasha Twining met 2 residents who are watching the high tides with concern.
There's a feeling of increasing urgency in Easton Bavents. In the last 24 hours, a septic tank from an abandoned cottage has been unearthed and fallen to the beach below. By this time tomorrow, the cottage itself will no longer be standing.
Tomorrow we demolish. We are compelled to demolish because if the house falls onto the beach, we're at fault. I'm doing it without any form of undertaking from Waveney either towards demolition grant and or future land use.
A few hundred yards down the coast, another house is now only a few feet from the edge.
We are still losing land and property to the sea, which is something which I succeeded in stopping. It is inexcusable that there should be any loss on this land at all.
Over the last few years, Peter has built his own sea defences, but he's been ordered to stop by the Court of Appeal. Waveney District Council say they are trying to find a solution for residents who lose their homes to the sea but want to retain their rights to the land. They say it has to go through the proper planning process and has not yet reached the stage where the policy can be formally adopted. In the meantime, the council has been exploring ways of being able to provide the comfort these residents desire, as it is fully aware of the imminent danger they face. In Easton Bavents, Paul and Peter are just waiting for an answer.
They say all they want are reassurances from the council that their homes will either be protected or they'll be allowed to relocate to a different piece of land, and they want those answers now. Meanwhile, it's nearly the end of October. Winter is approaching. Who knows what this stretch of coastline will look like in just a few months from now.
Sasha Twining, Anglia News, Easton Bavents.
Suffolk police are asking trick-or-treaters to behave responsibly at Halloween. They're asking shops not to sell flour and eggs to under 16s over the next few days unless they're with an adult. They're also asking parents to think twice before allowing their children to call at a stranger's home by themselves.